Hi all everyone, and I suppose Kim, if you're watching, I'm not sure why you're watching. You probably have much better things to do with your time than watching a fan video, I suppose. But if you are, hi. Is my camera crooked? Oh, okay, it isn't. Okay, that's good. Okay, for the rest of you who don't know who she is, I did talk about her briefly in my last video. I might regret what I said now, I suppose, when I think about it. So it might be gone, maybe not. But yeah, she's a YouTuber who I quite like. Now, the other day I did send a tweet to her, which was quite embarrassing. Here it is. Just to say, I didn't get a reply. It's been about a week now, and as a result, I don't really expect one now. But here's the story behind that. Once upon a time, I tweeted Kim and she replied, and I was like, whoa, she replied. So in my mind, at least, she was practically my best friend on Twitter, at least. So now as a result of this newfound relationship, I had the not so brilliant idea of using it and asking if she would tag me in a video. Obviously, she isn't my best friend, so as a result, she never replied to that quite weird request, I suppose. And yeah, and it was quite embarrassing, I suppose, because Twitter's quite public and people can see what you tweet, I suppose. Practically, the only reason why I'm making this video is so I can move on from this quite embarrassing event. And I hope, Kim, if you're watching, you can ignore that ever happened. And now that I've made this story public, hopefully I can watch your stuff and not instantly think of this quite embarrassing situation. So, yay. And now for the rest of you, you might have noticed that I've been away for quite a long time. When I say quite a long time, I mean about 50 days, which, yeah, is quite a long time. And quite boringly, I have to admit, I've been away because of university exams and assignments. Actually, that's only partially true because I don't actually have any exams, only assignments. And I suppose I'm also lying in saying that I've been busy with them, because being me, I am the world's biggest procrastinator ever. Now, what usually happens when one gets an assignment is that they start working on it, and gradually, over several months, they finish it, so it's not such a big deal. Me, on the other hand, I spend all this time practically just worrying and panicking about the assignment, which isn't very helpful because, one, I'm really stressed out about the assignments, and number two, I get nothing done. So, so the only way I know you can get me to even start writing anything, including the title, is if there's some kind of mortality panic going on in my head. And the only way for that to happen is if practically it's due on the same day. So that's bad, I suppose. But in times like this, I even managed to amaze myself in how productive I can be. Because in my media report assignment folio thing, I managed to complete 3,000 words within 24 hours, which is a personal record for me. I'm not saying 3,000 good words, by the way. They're probably quite shite, if I'm honest, but 3,000 words, and I'm like, wow, if only I can be productive like this all the time. Imagine how good I could be at getting stuff done. I mean, so imagine, instead of pretending that I've got so much work to do and therefore I can't make any videos and stuff like that, so I'm just imagining how much time I could save if professors set the due date of assignments the day after they give it out. I mean, I could practically spend so many more months of the year making videos like this instead of pretending, oh no, I've got so much work to do, when in reality I'm just panicking. This is probably the worst advice ever. But if you're a professor, instead of setting the due date months into the future, just set it for tomorrow. And you'd probably rid the world of assignment stresses for the most part. Although all the assignments you get back would probably be a bit shite, but all of them would be that way, so it's at nobody's disadvantage, really. So here's me changing the world for the better. You can thank me later, by the way. Now, the other day I had the idea of being a better brother, so I decided to be really nice and help my brother get to and from university for an assignment test thing. and my experience of being a nice brother wasn't very good, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be a nice brother anymore after my bad experience. Now my plan of being a nicer brother involved having lunch with him, which unfortunately didn't go quite to plan because of traffic. Now you might be thinking that I'm over-exaggerating the problem of traffic, but on this day it was really bad because it practically took me 4.5 hours for me to get from home to university. 4.5 hours! Now this meant, instead of having lunch at the normal time of about 1 o'clock, I would have lunch at 5:30, which means it's not really a lunch, more like a slightly early dinner, I suppose. Is early dinner something that hobbits have? I don't know. Am I a hobbit? Well, I'm certainly short enough to be one, I suppose. Now, I was so bored during that traffic jam that I played around with my car's trip computer. It turned out my average speed was 9.7 kilometers an hour, which is about 6 miles an hour if you're wondering. And it turns out I can run faster. Not sprinting, I mean long distance. I can run faster than my car. Cars are rubbish, cars are overrated. So if you're thinking of buying a car to get to university, don't, because they're complete and utter pieces of garbage. Another helpful hint from me. Now my feet are getting quite numb, so I should finish this video. But unfortunately I've got a few more things to talk about according to my phone, so let's continue. Oh yes, what I had for lunch was McDonald's. Now it was the first time I had McDonald's in quite a long time, so I was pleasantly surprised that their food was quite edible. Now as I was consuming my quite edible meal at McDonald's, I read an article in the paper about, well, I didn't actually read an article in the paper because it was an online paper. Well, I didn't actually read it. Davis told me about reading it on his iPad. It was a story about how eating beef in Australia is a lot more environmentally friendly than eating, well, vegetables, i.e. being vegan, which is odd because one of the main reasons people go vegan is to help the environment and ethics and stuff like that. Now this is because having cows means that you don't really have to change the land that much as compared to a wheat plantation where you have to clear the land. So quite obviously this means the suffering of cows is less important than the suffering of koalas. So guys, why do cows have less rights than koalas? I think this calls for a petition, don't you think? Save the cows! Forget about koalas. I know they're endangered and everything and they're cute, but cows need more rights, don't you think? I think so. Otherwise we'll have a cow rebellion coming soon, and we definitely don't want one of those. Also quite excitingly, Coles, which is my local supermarket, has recently decided to stock Jaffa cakes and Jammy Dodgers, which are some delicacies from the other side of the world. Now I've heard about these two foods for many years now, and they've been hyped so much in my mind that they couldn't possibly meet my expectations, and they didn't, I'm afraid to say. Jaffa cakes, well, they're just sort of sponge cakes with some orange jelly, which I don't really like, disguised as a biscuit. I mean, how has that become one of the UK's most esteemed pieces of confectionery? Jammy Dodgers, on the other hand, I think only arrived in Australia because of the demand created by, well, Doctor Who really. And I have to say, as a Whovian, they were quite nice, and I would definitely continue buying them because I want to show my support for the 11th Doctor, I suppose. Yep, he's still my favourite Doctor. Sorry Capaldi, but I find you quite unlikable. Sorry, that sounded so mean. Anyway, I think that's the end of my video. I've said enough. So in the comments below, tell me, have you tried Jaffa cakes and Jammy Dodgers? And tell me what you think about them. I'm sure I'd be very interested in hearing your comments. And until next time, bye! Hi all, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Now, today I've been tagged, I don't mean today, do I? I mean, many months ago I was tagged.